497, 498, 499. What do you mean I hit 500 subscribers? Hi, and welcome to Quilt Meets World, where we have adventures in piecing and joy. I'm Russ. Come on into my sewing room. I need to thank each and every one of you. I started this channel with the expectation that I was going to have one subscriber, me. I'm amazed that 500 of y'all so far, and counting, like to know what's going on with me. It's an honor to have each and every one of you subscribe. I'm working on trying to get different content out, but I do work a full-time job, so that takes up a bit more time than I would like sometimes. So it makes it a little bit difficult to get any extra content out. Though if Shannon has her way, I'll be doing live soon. In other fun news, I made the gal who was bagging groceries at Publix the other day, I made her day. I don't know if she was doing this to every customer or whether she thought I was a good mark or something. But as I got to the credit card machine to start paying for my groceries, she looks at me and says, "Do you know the Muffin Man?" And then I replied, "The Muffin Man?" And she exclaimed, "The Muffin Man!" So I concluded with, "Yes, I know the Muffin Man who lives in Drury Lane." And her eyes just totally lit up. I explained how I love the original Shrek and how I really love Shrek the Musical. I told her that I found it a few years back on Netflix and she needs to watch it. I don't know where it's streaming now, otherwise I'd be pointing everybody else to it, but hopefully she was able to find it because her eyes lit up extremely big when she thought about the whole idea of being able to watch Shrek the Musical. So that was a lot of fun. Work, on the other hand, has still been crazy. A lot of what I was doing this week, it was extracting forecast data to test the new system that's going in place next month. This is our first chance to actually take a look at it. So I started extracting the same data because we can't trust what IT is extracting. It's not a simple database where you just say, select all the rows, because even then we can't trust what they're doing. It took me a bit because I pulled out about 1 million cells of data, give or take 100,000, out of the system. The way that I did it was not the way that Excel really liked to do things. It's not the way that the database system likes to do things, but it was the only way I was able to do it. I had to break it up into chunks. It was crazy, but I managed to get all the data out, and I validated that the data that I pulled out totaled what I was expecting. On the other hand, I ended up throwing all this data into mapping templates that I had developed for the actuals version of this system. So it's tried true, exactly what we are expecting. And I got a different set of kickouts than the consultants got. And that is terrifying me to pieces. We've already found out that whatever extract the consultants got was eliminating zeros. Zero is different than does not exist, because zero means somebody probably made a conscious effort. It could also mean that somebody just deleted data and didn't remove the row, they just left a zero. So some of those differences I'm okay with explaining as zero, but the other differences I'm very concerned about, especially since the consultants are trying to say my stuff is wrong. And yeah, I don't want them to say that because I will go off on them. We have a meeting on Tuesday to try to sort it out. But, you don't question my stuff, especially when I know it's a tried and true system that is already working for stuff that is going on. Hopefully, though, we will get access to data over the next couple days. Like I said, I know we have a meeting on Tuesday to discuss what these things are. But as soon as I get access to what they mapped all the data to, I can line everything up in a couple hours and say, this is right and this is wrong. It'd be a little bit harder to trace back what's wrong to the source data, but I'm fairly certain it's the stuff that I've already identified as, you guys aren't doing this right. And it really scares me because, like I said, we are going live in a month. And like the people who know the data and know how the data is supposed to map hasn't had a chance to even take a look at any of it. But I'm crossing my fingers, hoping everything's going to be fairly simple fixes for them to get done. Otherwise, it's going to be a nightmare. There was also a C word scare going around the office. We had a few town hall meetings this week. The first one had a big, giant gathering in one of the audience spaces that we have, that we can fit a larger number of people. Obviously, we can't fit everybody there, but they fit, I don't know how many they fit in there, but I was like, I am not going near that place. I'm not going to go near the reception area because that's too many people in too confined of an area. Even without the illness scares, whether it be what's been going on the past couple of years or, standard flu, cold, or anything else. I'm not dealing with any of that with large groups because I don't like to get sick. So they had that whole thing on Tuesday. On Wednesday, there was another one for just the finance groups. And one of the big speakers, he, instead of being on site where we all expected him to be, he was dialed in from his hotel room because he wasn't feeling well. Apparently, a bunch of other folks started getting notifications of tracing due to proximity to people who were getting sick. With everything going on, obviously rumors started flying and whatever. Thursday, there was a comment made several times that the office looked dead. And we're not certain if it was because a lot of people used Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday as their days in the office this week, or whether it was because of the scare. Either way, I'm glad I didn't go anywhere near any of those crowded areas to try to get me sick again, because that last time was enough for me for the next 3-4 years. The sewing room in here, though, that's a different story. Friday, I started the binding for my show and tell that was going to be for Saturday Sampler this month. It was at that point I realized, oops, I didn't quite finish the binding from all the quilts last month. I had them started, but I guess in the delirium from the sickness, I didn't quite get them done. So I was spending a lot of time in here Friday. I got the binding sewn all the way up and seamed together on the front of the quilts. And then I got it all pressed over to the back, and I used my Steam-A-Seam to tack it down so it looked finished enough, so that I was able to do everything for show and tell yesterday. My intent was yesterday afternoon to do the final stitching down, because all I need is my stitch and ditch foot to guide against there, and I will be machine binding all over down pretty quickly. But yeah, I was exhausted and I vegged on the couch most of the day. Saturday Sampler, though, was fun. I always love seeing everything that's going on in the shop. I love the new stuff. I love seeing what classes they're having in case I want to take something. And I really love getting to see the show and tell from everybody. I did share all the quilts yesterday. They probably won't make it in the video this week because they start posting what they call Quilt Show Sunday about the time I start recording. And they have it broken up so that if you have multiple quilts, you're not all in one giant post. Although I kind of joke that I should be because I had enough for one post. But I think it's 6 that ends up having to be one post that they do, or 6. Either way, That's just goals later. So you won't get to see the show and tell this week. I will have them downloaded and they will be put into scenes in the week next week. I did tell them that since I was sick last month and I couldn't go in, they're going to get 2 months of show and tell. And I like showing quilt after quilt after quilt. It was a lot of fun, and everybody loved the stuff that I showed, especially a certain autumn quilt that may or may not sound familiar to some people. They are starting a new Saturday sampler program. Normally, what they do is a 12-month program that will give you a full twinish size quilt in the end. Sometimes they've done larger quilts, depending on the way that they want to finish it. They've done things that have been traditionally block of the months, which ends up giving you a larger quilt. Sometimes they just, some people may not want the full large quilt. They just may want a smaller sampler size to cuddle under the couch or throw on a guest bed or something. They have been very annoyed that due to supply chain issues and various things that have plagued the last couple of years, that what they used to start in January and June has now shifted to like March and September. And those months just get really confusing on everybody. Them because they got to figure out where are they in the programs, us because we can't just simply line up month to month with programs. So they are doing a 4-month program that is a special program that's starting this month in September, and it's going to continue to the end of the year. Now, before you get excited, their Saturday sampler programs are for only people that are in the quilt shop, and they ended signups yesterday, just because they want to make sure the folks that are in their Saturday sampler program had a chance to sign up. They're not signing up anybody else. Again, you can't call a shop and say, I want to join and try to pay for it because they will laugh at you. So that said, the Saturday sampler program that they are doing is going to be both fun and challenging. It's a Lori Holt project, and my 30 seconds of researching found an announcement from Lori's blog back in 2014. There is a pattern out there. I haven't been able to fully find the links and stuff to I'm going to say a decent seller, because I've seen it priced anywhere from like 20 to 40 bucks, and that doesn't sound like that's the correct price. But it is this is the front of the first page. So this is the first block. I believe that kit is called Sew Cut Press Quilt, or maybe it's in a different order of that. Like I said, if I find it, I will be throwing it in the notes below if you're interested in purchasing it from them. You'll have to use your own fabric, but they look to be really fun. They did show all 4 blocks finished because, it's a form-month program. And if you just see one block, you may or may not want to join. And the way that they did it is going to be a lot of fun. I don't know what their plan on finishing it is, but I already have in my head exactly how I want to get them finished. And it is simple enough that I can probably have them done before January's Saturday sampler, so I can have them as show and tell. Again, we'll see how it goes. These are pretty intense blocks, as you know if you've done any of Lori Holt's really fun stuff. I've tried a couple. I have one of them that's in my needs to finish box, and funny, it's a sewing machine that is in the piece that needs to be finished. So I wonder if it's the exact same pattern. I'm going to have to go look at that a little bit later. Anyway, that really is as far as I have gotten in my sewing room. My Socialites finishing blocks have been basically untouched from last week. The triangles are all the squares for the triangles are all cut out. The quarter square triangles are still single pieced, as you saw last time. I just got to get them pressed open so I can piece them together and then trim them down. The half square triangles, I have all the squares cut for them, and I have everything the line down the middle. So all I need to do is get probably half an hour in here just to run them all through the sewing machine in order to, start trimming all those down to size, and then figure out how I'm going to get these big giant rows through my sewing machine. I swear though, my boss needs to come back so I can start relaxing again after work. Other than hoping for a nap, I think I'm going to keep the same goals as last week, just because I didn't get through them this week. I don't have anything directly pending because new Saturday sampler program, I don't have to worry about those. Although I probably should start figuring out finishing kit because I got the finishing kit pattern from the quilt shop. There's funkiness in that finishing kit, so I'm a little disturbed. It all fits correctly. They just did it in a method that I feel is confusing to newer quilters. You may have seen it in the scenes from the week where I was confused about it. What I would have done is similar to what, well, actually, it's not exactly what Socialites does, because when there's multiple together, Socialites tells you cut a bigger block. But what I would have done just to make it more logical would be to do full strips of binding and full sashings. I didn't mean to say bindings, and it's full strips of sashings and the portion of sashings. And then just put just a regular, whatever size the block is, block in there of the background. That's what I would have done. I think it's just roughly about the same amount of fabric. I'm probably losing half an inch by whatever the lengths of the fabrics are. So I'm sure there's plenty in the finishing kit that if I wanted to do it that way. But I want to see what happens if I do it this way, just because it's a little bit different, and I know that the cutting instructions are explicit for that. So I know they don't have enough of the full lengths of it. I would have to piece the strips. Anyway, that's a little bit off topic. Borrowed lips. So officially, what I'm going to say my plans are this week are going to be the Socialites finishing blocks. It's, like I said, it's a bunch of half square triangles and quarter square triangles. I don't know how many that's going to be, but there's that. It's going to be the triangles for the graduation quilts. They've been floating around and being shifted around left and right over here. So I want to get some of those put together, and then start looking at the finishing kit for that Saturday sampler that I got the finishing kit for, because yeah, I really want to get that done. I think I have a home for it for Christmas. So if I can get it ready and done for Christmas, I'm going to be so excited. So yesterday, I'm sure everybody knows, was National Sew a Jelly Roll Day. I don't normally buy jelly rolls. They are not my favorite pre-cut, mostly because I feel limited at the width of 2.5 inches. I feel like I get a little bit more room or flexibility if I have a layer cake, or in many cases a charm pack. Even the Jolly Bars, the Fat Quarter Shop exclusive pre-cut, are pretty good size to get decent quilts from. Jelly rolls, I just feel limited. And it's really hard to figure out what to do with them. I know a lot of blocks do things at 2.5 inches, but it's just hard to visualize. At Saturday Sampler, though, they commented about that it was Sew a Jelly Roll Day, and they made us promise not to do a jelly roll race because there's no planning with them. You get what you get. It gets a little confusing. There were a couple free patterns that they had available, but I forgot to grab them. But they also had this book. On the face of it, it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. There are 16 patterns in the book, and I've just skimmed through, and they all look fun. And they all look, pretty simple to do when you are thinking about them. The closest I have to a complaint, though, is there's a lot of cutting. Most people will think about jelly rolls and do like strip piecing and stuff like that. This is not. For instance, this quilt on the cover, I looked at the pattern and there's 687 individual pieces. That's just a cut. I know I can do stack and whack, and chain piecing will make it go faster. But when you start counting those cuts, that seems a little bit crazy. And yeah, that said, this block here has 85 pieces in it. So yeah, I know I'm giving and taking on what I want, but still. Anyway, that's about it for today. Thank you for watching. If you want, please consider liking this video and subscribing. Like I said, it still amazes me that over 500 of y'all have subscribed to my channel, and I'm in shock that I've done this. So if more of y'all want to subscribe, that would be awesome. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really does help the channel to grow. I guess the next milestone is 1,000. Whenever it happens, it happens. I'm not in any rush to grow too far. I hope you have a really wonderful rest of your day and an awesome week. Until next time, stay happy and keep stitching.